Welcome to this week's installment of Ask Rabbi Fox. I have the absolute pleasure to talk with David Alpern this week, and the idea. I know that it's Ask Rabbi and that I will answer, but we're hoping a little bit that this will be somewhat of a conversation as well. I know that David has a question, and actually it's going to be relevant. I think for the answer to this question, I happen to know this question ahead of time, although I don't always know them. That collaboration is going to be an important part of the content and the answer to the question itself. David, it's always a pleasure to connect with you. It's always a pleasure to get to speak, and actually a really wonderful opportunity for us to connect. We had a previous recording that we're not using it disappeared, but we are now re-recording, and so for me, selfishly, I get to have this time again with you. And you were just mentioning that it's been a little bit since we've had the time to connect, in the sense that we had all of these wonderful meetings leading up to Michelle's bat mitzvah, which was a beautiful, beautiful celebration, by the way. Loved getting to celebrate with you, and so what a joy that we get to have this time together today as well. Anyway, by all means, please, David, what is the question you're wondering about? And I, again, look forward to this being a conversation as well.
And for everybody watching, because this is our second time recording this will be a very polished version of an Ask the Rabbi. But I've been watching the series and I've been enjoying the questions, an opportunity for all of us to get to know you as you join and become a permanent member of our community here in Long Beach. And one of the things I was very excited about getting to know you before you started was hearing about all of the activities that you did in Indianapolis. And one of the things that really struck me and I very much appreciated about you were all of the entrepreneurial, creative ideas that you had to inspire better relationships between your synagogue community in Indianapolis and the broader community at large. One example, and we could talk about this and others, was your periodic meetings in a local microbrew, so that you could, as you said, take the temple outside of the physical plant, outside of the synagogue building, and actually engage with non-stakeholders, but community members out there. So I'm curious, now that you've been here in Long Beach, while we're getting closer to almost a year already that you're here, what are some of the creative ideas that are brewing, catch the beer pun, what are some of the creative ideas that are brewing in your head that you plan and hope to do to integrate Temple Israel and the Jewish community as a whole into the broader Long Beach area?
So thank you, David. And I'm completely with you. I'm excited about getting to kind of try to think outside of the box a little bit. And there's an important piece of this, which is that anytime I do a new initiative or a new project, I like to try to build it together with members of the community. So I always do it in partnership with other members, either from an idea that I had that I thought, oh, I think so-and-so really loves this also. And so I'll sit down and say, hey, I have this idea, or something that somebody brings to me and they'll say, hey, I really want to do this project. Can we work on it together? Or something that comes from kind of an organic conversation of the two of us sitting together and saying, this is really a need, and then kind of realizing that there's an opportunity there. You're right. I got to do a handful of things in Indianapolis, things that kind of were outside of the box. And I firmly believe that getting outside of the walls of our institutions, they're beautiful, beautiful spaces. In Indianapolis, it was a large building and almost a campus, really, in the sense of the space that we had. And in Long Beach, we have this gorgeous building and this gorgeous space that is made sacred not just through the aesthetics, but of course our memories and our moments there. And I also think, and I think about this for me, when I walk through the doors of a synagogue that I am less familiar with, I feel nervous. And I realized, if I'm feeling nervous, and I'm a rabbi, I'm very comfortable and familiar with everything that's going on. I mean, or a lot of what's going on, that other people who might be joining and joining for the first time, it must be a significant threshold to come through those doors. And so I wonder about who we can make maybe lower lower that threshold, or make it more accessible for members of our community. I also think that different spaces kind of give us different modes, different ways of interacting with each other. And so I love getting outside of the space. So yes, we partnered with microbreweries around the city of Indianapolis, doing what we called beer Havdalah. We wove together a beer tasting experience and a Havdalah experience, both being a reflective time to think about the experience and enjoy the beer. In many ways, kind of a meditation, a food meditation or a tasting meditation, and weaving together the beautiful ceremony of Havdalah so that we could think about and reflect on the experience of Shabbat that we were leaving, and the experience of the week that we were entering. And it was a lot of fun. We had different breweries around that, had some brewed special beers for us, and some, had, gave us a section. We did different programming. It was just a lot of fun. And getting outside of the walls gives us a different mode. It also is maybe and hopefully more accessible to people who would have a harder time walking through the doorway of a synagogue, but feel perfectly comfortable going to the brewery that's just down the street. And so my hope from the Indianapolis things is to take some of that and have them here in Long Beach. And so there's a couple things. One is, we are well outside the walls of our synagogue now, given that we are in a time of a pandemic. And so trying to think about different modes of connecting, via Zoom and social media. So of course this program is one, and there'll likely be others coming up. We've talked about, I don't want to give too much away, but something that might be more of an informal thing, like the Ask Rabbi Fox sessions, but where there's more conversation as a part of it. So this David, you are forward thinking. This might even be a preview of that. And thinking about, for example, tableside Shabbat, which I'd love to do again, of thinking about, well, we're in our homes. What is the Jewish history and practice of celebrating Shabbat around the table? And there's another piece as well that I've been thinking about a bit, and that is that, and I know that Temple Israel has done this some, but I would love to do it in a more in a more kind of consistent way, is a Shabbat experience outside, and using our natural space to connect with the generations, to connect with our sense of wonder, our sense of transcendence. That term even comes from Ralph Waldo Emerson, not a Jewish thinker, but we'll claim him, or we'll at least let him be within the circle, in the sense of allowing
We should
spiritual.
declare him an honorary tribe member.
Yes, yeah, he's a member of the tribe. It's we'll bring in Ralph. Yeah. and his whole idea of transcendence and the idea of spiritual connection through seeing ourselves as a part of something greater, that was through nature. So I think there's something really powerful to being able to find natural spaces and maybe go out to El Dorado Park, or even do a little bit of a hike into a space where we can focus and have an experience, a Shabbat experience, where we are outside. If we're looking to leave our world behind, then and have a space that we can step outside and have, or to the side, and have kind of a separate moment, a separate 24, 25 hours. What better way than to go outside? And so I have a little bit of an idea. I'll share just the name that I've been thinking of, but this is without partnership. So I look forward to kind of generating with members of our community what this might look like. But the idea of it being Shabbat b'makom. B'makom.
About it, the place.
Exactly. And David, I'm speaking with you, David. You know that all the iterations of that prefix of be, right? And so literally in the place, but bimkom also can be
In place
of.
Yeah.
And the other thing that I imagine as well, is that there are many names of God, and one of them, of course, is Hamakom. And so it could also, that name also kind of invokes a Shabbat with God. Not that our
And
other Shabbatot don't, but I was thinking that that might kind of couch and frame this experience. Anyway, I'm doing a lot of
And
talking.
yeah,
David,
and
please.
Hamakom is actually a good segue, the place, a good
Yeah.
segue back to the question that I asked, because I think it's important to engage people in the place they're already at, as opposed to
Yes.
asking them to travel to a place that you designate, rather having the Jewish community and the representatives, such as yourself, and the synagogue in general, leadership, engage people in the place that they're at. So the microbrew idea, for example, is a perfect idea of the people already there, and then we're coming and saying, hey, we're all brothers, we're all the same. And one of the things people may or may not know about you is that your musical history in San Diego, you pursued a musical career for quite some time as well, and music is very much part of your identity. And Long Beach is one of the nation's jazz and blues hubs as well. So there may be future ideas, and I'm looking forward to seeing the ideation stem out of you as well as to how to engage people where they already are as it relates to music, be it jazz, blues, or other festivals that we oftentimes have here in the city in the post-vaccine era. And seeing the things that will creatively get designed and actually happen. So we engage people that may not have been even aware of what the Jewish community does here in Long Beach.
Thank you. And actually, I need to clarify that the idea of an outside service would also be after we are all safely vaccinated.
Of course.
Just need to clarify that. Yes, I am completely with you. To use this rich history and tradition in our Jewish community of music, and by the way, the extraordinary talent in our Temple Israel community, and this vibrant jazz scene. You are very right. In San Diego, the jazz station is 88.3, and only certain
KSDS.
areas. Sorry?
KSDS.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. And only in certain areas of San Diego can you turn the dial just a little bit and get to 88.1, which is the
Our
jazz station
station.
here
Yeah.
at Long Beach.
Yeah.
And I will admit that for many years I didn't realize that it was connected to Long Beach. And one of the things that was really exciting for me to discover was that it was because I would get little bit here, a little bit there. I didn't always hear the call letters or whatever it might be, but I would always switch whenever I could because I prefer 88.1. And so learning that, oh my gosh, we're Long Beach is the center of that, and I'm very, very excited, to join. I mean, there is so much incredible music here in Long Beach. Many traditions, by the way. I should mention also that there's a very rich history of hip hop and rock and all different genres of music here as well. That I think that there's a really great opportunity for us to do some partnerships, some programs, and jazz being in my heart. I can't wait for that as well. These are all things that we can bring either into our synagogue, helping kind of open up the words of our tradition by bringing in new melodies and new instruments to helping us sing, Micha Mocha, for example, and having opportunities to kind of go outside of the walls and maybe see, first of all, just social gatherings and just have fun, and to perhaps have a component as well. Again, I'm doing a lot of talking. David,
Yeah.
what are your thoughts on this? How would you love to see us kind of use the incredible music scene here in Long Beach to help us connect?
As a student of entrepreneurship and as an entrepreneur in many facets of my career, I'm excited that you, as the new rabbi at Temple Israel, have an entrepreneurial flair to what you do, and I'm excited to see the ideas that you're going to be bringing to the table. I think physically and perceptually, it's good that you understand that it's hard to get somebody who's not a stakeholder to walk through, formatively to get them to walk through the temple doors. And I think in the reverse, for example, me in local churches, the only times I can think of in recent memory that I've entered local churches were one recently for a Red Cross blood drive. And the only other time I can really think of is when Temple Israel itself had a mitzvah day, and I was part of a food preparation event that was taking place at the First Congregational Church in downtown Long Beach. But outside of those two events, and both of those you can understand were partnerships by those congregations and something else, there was nothing really to drive me into their physical plant. So it's really, how can I engage with our brethren in the other religious communities outside of their house of prayer, because that's not normally where I'm going to venture to. And so I like the idea that you have to do outreach. And of course, we haven't even touched about digital outreach, which there are many opportunities as well. But the crux of my question was more about physical touch points. And I'm glad to know that you're thinking and you've got some ideas brewing, back to that pun, that are not yet ready to be published.
David, I'm with you completely. And as we close, I want to mention also that I do have my eye on a particular brewery that is kosher here in Long Beach, Long Beach Beer Lab. So if anyone's ears are burning, reach out. We are not ready to do something in person now, but I'm very excited to do some sort of partnership in the future, as well as with other local partners. Um, David, I'm right there with you. I look forward to dreaming, to being in this entrepreneurial spirit of finding new ways to express this tradition that comes from many years before us, and help find expressions that will keep it relevant for many years to come. It is always a pleasure to connect with you, David. Wishing you and everyone here a wonderful week. If you would like to ask a question as a part of the Ask Rabbi Fox series, please, by all means, reach out to me or the members of the transition team, to Melissa Newman or Jen Stein, or any of the members. We look forward to having more of these conversations. And again, David, thank you. Be well, everyone.
Bye.